We Were Liars is made up. There is no similarity between the Sinclair family, which is the family in the book, and my own family, except for that, so this novel, in case people don't know, right, it's a show on Prime Video, so it has a newfound popularity now. I wrote it 11 years ago, but it also had a surge of popularity during the pandemic when people were making a lot of TikTok videos about books, and We Were Liars was one of them. So it's had a really healthy, long life as a story, and I think even though it is about a really wealthy family who owns a private island off the coast of Massachusetts, and the teenagers who spend summer after summer together on this island, and what happens when two of them fall in love, and what happens when they start to realize some of the toxicity in their family and their family's beliefs that they hadn't noticed before, right? That's the premise of the book, right? And it's got amnesia, it's got first love, it's got, all kinds of fairy tale references. But I think the reason that people continue to respond to it is actually that there are some universals at the heart of it. And all families fight. Some fight loud and mean and violent. Some fight quiet and bitter, you know, but any kind of family conflict is hard on the kids in the family, and it can be incredibly disempowering. And there's a point when you become a young adult that I think is part of what makes young adult literature so continually interesting to me, when you begin to question the institutions that shape your understanding of the world, including the family. So this is a family in We Were Liars where the adults are fighting and are embattled with one another and have a lot of toxic patterns. And as the kids in the family begin to notice what is going on, they begin to question and rebel, and they make a bunch of really stupid decisions. But I think people connect to that moment of coming of age and saying, you know what, you people, you do not have the answers. I was an executive producer on the show, and I wrote the finale. And so I was part of the casting process and the location scouting, and I was on set for 10 weeks, and I worked on post-production as well. So it was a great education in a new kind of storytelling for me. And and the most intense part was definitely being on set in that world, with the actors. And we have the most amazing cast. I really think that our very, very long casting process paid off. We had the WGA strike in the middle. And so we had to stop working completely for 5 months during the casting process. And then when we came back, the casting agency had been mulling and thinking all the time that the producers and the writers could not work. So they came back to the table with just some incredible people who are in our show.
Yeah.
We Fell Apart is a new cast. It's about a girl who comes to a huge island property, almost a castle, in search of her long lost father, only to find that the father who invited her is not there. And instead, there are three really cute teenage boys. So she stays, and there's a love story. One of the boys is her half brother. And it's a summer where everybody in this strange castle is following some unusual rules and behaving oddly. And there's a big mystery that Matilda needs to understand in order to understand where she comes from and who her father is. At the same time, this story overlaps with the world of We Were Liars. It takes place simultaneously with the novel We Were Liars. So Beechwood Island is just across the water. And if people are looking for a lot more, secrets about the Sinclair family, new skeletons that are in their closets, this book has all that too. I cut a bunch of stuff that was in the novel that was kind of more in that cameo vein because it wasn't fully integral to the plot. So, you write a whole lot of stuff and then you pare away to, the parts of the story that are going to bleed if you cut them. I cut a bunch of stuff that had that was in the novel that was kind of more in that cameo vein because it wasn't fully integral to the plot. So, you write a whole lot of stuff and then you pare away to, the parts of the story that are going to bleed if you cut them. So,
Focusing on Hidden Beach from a sort of world building perspective, and this could be advice. I'd be remiss not to try to pick your brain for it here or there. For the aspiring writer trying to do this, maybe using Hidden Beach as an example as you put that into action. I had a wonderful conversation with Charlene Harris about this, and then of course, like Mary Kay Andrews and others that have done these beach towns, but they really, really they know precisely like there's got to be an old diner here, and there's the post office. Where are the characters going to intersect with each other? It's all strategic. Would you elaborate a little bit on how that works for you, maybe in crafting Hidden Beach as an example?
well, so the property in We Fell Apart is called Hidden Beach, and it's owned by this incredibly famous reclusive painter, and he's built kind of this almost a castle right on the shore. But the castle has gone to ruin. And that location was inspired by a property on Martha's Vineyard. I'm speaking to you from Martha's Vineyard right now, that I visited a few years ago that looked like that. And it was incredible. And it was and it had this big circular swimming pool that was filled with leaves and like hadn't been used in years. And so my mind just started turning over the second I started the tour of this place, and I felt incredibly lucky to visit it. It was just like a gift to a novelist. So then I knew I was setting the book on Martha's Vineyard, not on Beechwood Island, and I looked for ways to bring my characters over to Beechwood. I looked for ways to also integrate my characters into Martha's Vineyard so that there was a real sense of place. I mean, a lot of the landmarks and stuff are fictionalized, but I really wanted it to feel in no way generic, right? Like very, very specific sense of place. So I spent a lot of time on that.